In continuation to yesterday's class, we will start with topic laws of reflection. Laws of reflection. Reflection has two basic rules. Now, you might remember this in the previous day's class. This is an example of reflection of light on a plane surface. Now, this surface is a mirror. The best plane surface known to us is a mirror, and one ray is taken to be coming towards the mirror, and after reflection it goes away from the mirror. When it comes towards the mirror, the ray is called incident ray. When it reflects and goes away from the mirror, then it is called reflected ray. I and R stands for angle of incidence. R stands for angle of reflection. I is the angle between the incident ray and the normal. Okay, this is the normal line. I am writing as capital N. Okay, N. N stands for the normal line. Normal line is called perpendicular or at 90 degree to the plane of reflection. Okay, so angle between incident ray and the normal is called angle of incidence. Short form is I. Angle between the reflected ray and the normal is known as angle of reflection. Short form is small letter r. Small letter I is angle of incidence. Small letter r is angle of reflection. Okay, now what are the two rules or laws of reflection? The first one is the incident ray here, the reflected ray this, and the normal this. The normal is drawn as dotted line. You all know it's an imaginary line. So all these three lines all lie on the same plane. Now, which plane are we talking about? The plane of the mirror, the plane of reflection. Okay, all these three lines, incident ray, reflected ray, and normal, they all lie on the same plane of reflection. The reflection of, the plane of mirror is the plane that we are talking about here. The plane that I am talking about here is the plane of the mirror. In that only incident ray, reflected ray, and the normal, all three lie. Second rule is angle of incidence is equals to angle of reflection. Now in short, we can just write it as I equals to R. I means angle of incidence, R means angle of reflection. Now suppose if the angle of incidence is 60 degree, then we will see that the angle of reflection is also 60 degree. You change the angle of incidence, angle of reflection will also change along with it. Okay, and both will be equal to each other. So these are the two laws of reflection. Okay, now since we are dealing with reflection, so how can we miss mirrors? So let's now study about mirrors. Now there are two kinds of mirrors. One is a plane mirror, one is a curved mirror. Okay, curved mirrors are like this. Curved like this. One side is painted and the other side acts as a reflecting surface. Okay, we will learn about them in class 8. Okay, in class 7 we don't have curved mirrors in our syllabus. What we have is plane mirrors, which have plane reflecting surface like this. One straight plane reflecting surface. Such kind of surfaces are called as plane mirrors. Now I have over here drawn a ray diagram. I hope it is clearly visible. Now ray diagram over here I have drawn in order to show you how reflection occurs. Now here in this diagram, this particular object is a point size object. Let me write over here since it is an object. If this is kept in front of a plane mirror, this is the mirror that I am talking about. Let's see how the reflection takes place. Now keep in mind that we have considered the two laws of reflection that we have just now studied. Okay, what are those two laws? Incident ray, reflected ray, and the normal lies on the same plane. And the second one, which is actually applicable over here, the angle of incidence is equals to angle of reflection. That is going to be applied here. Alright, let us start here. This is our object, point size object, which is kept in front of the mirror. Now in this mirror, keep in mind, if I stand this way, my right hand side, the right hand side of this mirror, the glass is painted. Okay, the painted side is on the right hand side. That means the reflecting surface is the left hand side. So this side, the reflection will take place. Okay, now keeping this object here, I have taken two rays of light coming out from this object. This is one ray and this is another ray. Now these two rays coming out from the object, they are the incident rays. So one of the incident rays strikes at this point and the other one strikes at this point. So from both these points, I have drawn out normal. Okay, this dotted line, if it is visible to you, they are the two normals. Now the normals are very important for drawing ray diagrams in this case. Alright, just now we have studied that the angle that the incident ray makes with the normal is called angle of incidence, and the angle that this is the reflected ray. After striking here, it reflects back. Both these rays, after striking here reflects, after striking here it reflects. So angle of incidence and angle of reflection should be seen. That's what we learned in the second law of reflection. So in both the cases, in this ray also, in this ray also, these two angles and these two angles should be equal to each other. If while constructing this ray diagram, if you don't keep this in mind, you will draw a wrong diagram. Alright. So now for this particular ray, this is the incident ray, and the reflected ray I have so drawn such that the angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. For this ray also, I have drawn the incident ray here, but the reflected ray I have drawn in such a way, is not an out of imagination I have made. No, measurements are to be taken. The measurements are this particular angle and this particular angle. The reflected ray, the angle that it makes with the normal should be equal to the angle of incidence for this particular ray. Then only you will get a correct diagram. So now we have two reflected rays, this one and this one. Now next step is to pull this rays backward. You will need a scale for this. If you draw with free hand, it won't help. Now taking scale, if you prolong this rays or pull this rays backward, this one also, make sure that the two lines are straight. It shouldn't be like this. No, it should be one straight line. So when you pull the rays backward behind the mirror, make sure they are straight. They will come and meet at one point behind the mirror here. This point is the point where this object's image will be. So this is the image of this particular object. And if you notice one thing, I have written over here u and v. And both of them seem to be equal, isn't it? See, the distance of this object from the mirror is u. This object's distance, this image distance from the mirror is v. Both are equal to each other. Both should be equal to each other. So over here, u is object distance from the mirror. V is the image distance. From the mirror. U is the object distance or distance of the object in front of the mirror. V is the distance of the image from the mirror but behind the mirror. Both of them should be equal to each other. Both should be equal to each other. U should be equal to V. That means the object, how far ahead it lies in front of the mirror, the image also should be exactly the same distance behind the mirror. Now you must have observed this. When you stand in front of the mirror, you see your reflection and it will seem to you that how far you are standing in front of the mirror, your image behind the mirror is also standing exactly the same distance but behind the mirror. Alright, now this is not complete. Let me further explain. Now this image will be visible to a person who is over here. So I have drawn the eye of the person who is over here. For this person, the object's image will be visible. If he stands at this point, then he will be able to see the image. Okay. So this is the case of reflection for point-sized object. Now you have in your book another diagram in which the object is not a point size, it is a bigger size object. So for that also same type of diagram is there. Okay, I am not going to draw that over here. You will see it on page number 38. Okay, similar. But I have tried my level best to go one step further ahead as it is given in your book. The explanation is not as elaborate as I have given over here. So I hope the explanation helps you to understand what kind of reflection takes place using a plane mirror. Okay, next topic is speed of light. Now, speed of light in vacuum. Vacuum means a region of total absence. Neither solid nor liquid nor gas is there. Okay, not even air is there. But speed of light in vacuum and speed of light in air are almost similar. Okay, almost similar. So speed of light is this. It's 3 into 10 to the power of 8 meters per second. Now what I have done is, this is given in indices form, power and base. I have expanded it. 10 to the power of 8 means after writing 3, 8 zeros will be there. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if you count it, 1 stands 100,000, 10,000, lakh, 10 lakh, crores, 10 crores, 30 crore meters per second. This is the speed of light in vacuum. Now suppose you were to convert this from meters per second to kilometers per hour. Kilometers per second. Meters may not be so familiar to us, but yes, kilometers seems to be okay with us. So now if I have to convert meters to kilometers, there are 1000 meters in 1 kilometer. So if you have to convert meter to kilometer, you have to divide by 1000. So here, when I am dividing it with 1000, 3 zeros from the denominator will cancel with 3 zeros on the numerator. So you will have 5 zeros left. So now let's count it. 1 stands 100,000, 10,000, lakh. 3 lakh kilometers per second. This is the speed of light. Alright. And in air it is slightly less. In air it is 2.9 into 10 to the power of 8 meters per second. Slightly less. Okay. 0.1 difference is there. Okay. So in vacuum, the speed of light is this. That means you blink. How much time it takes for your eyes to blink? 1 second, right? When you blink, light would have traveled 3 lakh kilometers. So this is the speed of light.